The Ugly Duckling. On a little farm, long ago, lived a cute duck family. Mommy Duck was sitting on her 7 eggs, waiting for her new ducklings to hatch. One sunny morning, the eggs began to hatch. One by one, yellow ducklings stepped out of their shells. They shook their wings with excitement. Look at you! You are all so cute! But one large egg was still in the nest. Well, it looks like that big egg will take more time. So, she had to go sit on her nest again and wait longer. At last, the largest egg hatched. With great confusion, the poor duckling began to look around. His mother and siblings were a bit more confused than he was, because this duck in particular did not look like his siblings. He was built much broader and had gray and white feathers.
What is that? He cannot be one of us.
I have never seen such an ugly duckling.
How can you say such a thing? That's not nice. Now line up. We will go to the lake for your very first swim. Yet the other ducklings quacked.
Ugly, ugly, ugly.
The ugly duckling did not know why the other ducklings were yelling at him. He took the last spot in line. Each yellow duck jumped in the river and swam behind Mama Duck. When it was his turn, the ugly duckling jumped in and started to paddle too. He was a great swimmer. Later on, each time the ugly duckling tried to play with his brothers and sisters, they yelled,
Go away! We will not play with you. You are ugly.
Time was passing, and the ugly duckling was growing up to be different. All the animals on the farm were bullying him.
Ugly duckling, ugly duckling, ugly duckling.
Mother Duck, on the other hand, was doing her best to protect him. She couldn't bear to see that poor child so sad. But as the days passed, the poor ugly duckling was feeling worse. All night long he would silently cry.
Just because I am ugly doesn't mean everyone has to be mean. No one wants to play with me or even talk to me.
One day, one of the yellow ducklings said to the ugly duckling,
You know what? You would do us all a big favor if you leave.
Get out, get out, get out.
They're right. I should go.
That night, the ugly duckling flew over the farmyard fence and landed on the other side of the lake. There, he met 2 grown-up ducks.
Can I please stay here for a while? I have nowhere else to go.
What do we care? Just don't get in our way.
Suddenly, a big hungry dog came chasing the 2 ducks. They quickly flew up in the air. The poor ugly duckling froze in fear. The dog sniffed and sniffed at the ugly duckling, then turned away.
I am even too ugly for the big hungry dog.
Ugly duckling began to move along. Soon after, an empty lake appeared.
Well then, if nobody wants me, I will hide here forever.
Even though he was all alone, he was very happy. One day, he saw a horde of white long-necked birds migrating to the south. How beautiful they are! I wish I could be like them. Winter came and snow began to fall, so it was hard to find food. Cold and tired, trying to forage, the ugly duckling came across a farmer.
Poor thing, you must be freezing. I'll take you home and look after you till you grow.
Indeed, the farmer took good care of the ugly duckling. When spring arrived, the ugly duckling had grown. The farmer took him back to the lake to give him more space to move around freely. The ugly duckling looked at his reflection in the water, but he was amazed at what he saw. At first, he couldn't recognize himself. He thought there was someone else behind him. So he flipped his wings and noticed that his reflection was doing the same thing. He stretched out his neck, and his reflection continued to mirror his movements. Right then he knew that this amazing bird was no one other than himself.
Oh, how much I've changed! I look like the birds in the sky!
While he was swimming in the lake, he came across a wedge of swans. They took him along and traveled joyfully together. Finally, the ugly little thing was accepted and loved by his new friends, to whom he belonged. A boy at the lakeshore yelled out to his friends,
Hey, look at the young one all the way back! Must be the most beautiful swan I've seen!
The swan did not know how to react to so much praise. He felt shy. After being mocked for so long, he couldn't believe he was being appreciated and accepted.
I've never dreamt someone would call me beautiful someday. I wish I had received the same affection when I was the little and ugly creature. I wouldn't have spent such a sad childhood. Why do people treat others according to their looks? That is so sad.
Yes, from the beginning, he indeed was a swan. He was just an unfortunate egg, which got mixed up in between the ducks. But now, he was with his real family, and ahead of him was a happy life. The Three Little Pigs. Once upon a time, there were 3 little pigs, Strawy, Sticky, and Bricky, living with their mama pig in a small house. It was time for them to leave their home and learn to live on their own. My dear children, the time has come for you to go out into the world and make your own way. Go and start your new lives, but don't ever forget, whatever you do in this world, do the best you can. This is the only and the best way to stay alive. A little sad but excited, the 3 little pigs said their goodbyes to their mommy and set off. After a while, they found a piece of land where they could build their own home. The youngest, Strawy, was a bit lazy. He was determined to build his home with straw. He thought this was the easiest and fastest way to build a home. That way, he had heaps of time to play. Strawy finished his house in one day. He yelled out to the other piglets,
Hey, you guys, I'm already finished.
Oh, okay, but this house doesn't look steady at all. Don't worry, nothing will happen.
The middle piglet, Sticky, was slightly more diligent and constructed a little cubby house using sticks and twigs. His house took exactly 3 days to finish. This house was a bit steadier than the one with straw.
My dear brother, you've done a great job, but this doesn't look safe at all.
Don't worry, this house is very safe.
While Strawy and Sticky were having a great time near their newly built houses, singing, dancing, playing, and killing time, the eldest of them all, Bricky, was constantly working because he didn't think much of their ideas. He was the most diligent of the 3 and decided to build a sturdy house made of bricks. The other piglets laughed. They thought that his effort was useless.
Why would you bother with this when you can quickly finish like we have?
Bricky didn't bother listening to them and worked for 1 whole week and managed to finish his house made out of bricks and rocks. The brick house looked lovely and like it could withstand the strongest winds. A day later, a sly and cunning wolf named Wiley arrived near their home. He first stood in front of the house made of straw, and he smelled the pig inside. He thought the pig would make a mighty fine meal.
Little pig, let me in, let me in.
No, not by the hair on my chinny chin chin.
Then Wiley, who was a very big, bad, and greedy wolf, showed his teeth and said,
Then I'll huff, and I'll puff, and I'll blow your house down.
You can't do anything to me. My house is steady enough.
And so the wolf huffed and he puffed and he blew the house down in an instant. The wolf opened his jaws very wide and bit down as hard as he could. But with great effort, the first little pig barely escaped and ran away and went to Sticky's house to hide for safety. The hungry wolf continued down the lane and he passed by the second house made of sticks. He smelled the pigs inside and he thought about the fine dinner they would make.
Little pigs, let me in, let me in.
No, no, no. Not by the hair on my chinny chin chin.
Then I'll huff, and I'll puff, and I'll blow your house down.
You can't do anything to me. My house is steady enough.
The wolf huffed and he puffed and tried to blow the stick house down, but it took a bit more effort. Eventually, he succeeded. His big jaws clamped down on nothing but air, and the two pigs ran away and rushed to hide in Bricky's house, which was the sturdiest of them all. The starving wolf chased them and arrived at the third piglet's brick house, where he could smell all three of them inside. He knew that they would make a lovely feast.
Little pigs, let me in, let me in.
No, no, no. Not by the hair on my chinny chin chin,
said the third little pig confidently.
Then I'll huff, and I'll puff, and I'll blow your house down.
Don't you even try, you bad wolf. You cannot come in this house.
Well, he huffed and he puffed. He puffed and he huffed. And he huffed, huffed, and he puffed, puffed, but he could not blow the house down. At last, he was so out of breath that he couldn't huff and he couldn't puff anymore. So he stopped to rest and thought a bit. Finally, being exhausted, the wolf decided to try another way to go in. He saw the chimney up on the roof and started to climb the tree. Hearing a scrambling sound, Ricky realized that the wolf was going to climb up on the roof and come down the chimney. The piglets quickly lit up the fireplace right under the chimney and got the biggest pot they had, filled it full of water, and put it to boil on the woods. The wolf barely climbed up the chimney and threw himself in a plop. With a tremendous splash, he landed straight into the boiling bucket. Yowie! He screamed and shot back up the chimney. The last the three little pigs saw of the big bad wolf was him flying over the treetops, clutching a very sore tail.
Mommy was right. Whatever we did in this world, we gave it our best. If you really work for something, it will be a success.
From that day on, the two piglets were never lazy. They worked hard like their big brother and lived a happy and safe life in their strong brick houses. The Lion and the Mouse. Once upon a time, in a dense and sprawling jungle, there lived a mighty lion named Leo. Leo was revered by all the animals in the jungle for his strength and power. However, he was often aloof and didn't bother to befriend the smaller creatures around him. One day, tired from hunting all morning, Leo lay asleep in the forest, under a large shady tree, his great head resting on his paws. Some mice that lived at the foot of the tree scrambled over the sleeping lion to return to their home. But just as the last timid little mouse, Mia, was crawling over him, and in her fright and haste to get away, she accidentally ran across the lion's nose. The lion woke up with a roar. Roused from his nap, Leo was startled and annoyed. He laid his huge paw angrily on the tiny creature, trapping her and aiming to kill her.
You woke me up,
he roared. The mouse was frightened. She apologized to the lion for disturbing him, and trembling, but with a hint of bravery in her voice, she squeaked, The lion was amused by the thought that a mouse could ever help him.
You are funny. How could a mouse help a lion?
Curious and intrigued, Leo chuckled at the thought of a tiny mouse ever being able to help him, the king of the jungle. But he pitied the little poor mouse and generously decided to release her. He lifted his paw and finally set the mouse free.
I'll let you go, just because you made me laugh.
Some time passed, and one day, while stalking his prey in the forest, Leo accidentally stepped on a trap. A net made of thick ropes captured the lion and pulled him up into a tree. He was caught in the toils of a hunter's net. The lion struggled to free himself, but could not. He filled the forest with his angry roaring. Several animals ran to help the lion. They struggled to break him free, but only ended up making him entangled further and further. It seemed like there was no escape. Leo's mighty roars rumbled through the forest and echoed through the jungle as he became upset and afraid. Mia, the same mouse he had spared, heard Leo's distress calls and knew the voice. Remembering the lion's kindness, the mouse didn't hesitate and ran quickly to the lion's aid. She sprinted to the tree to find Leo struggling in the net, surrounded by different animals trying in vain to help him.
Let me pass!
If we couldn't help, how will you be able to do so, small little thing?
Mia ignored all the comments and climbed up to the trap. With her sharp little mouse teeth, she gnawed at the great ropes of the net that bound Leo. Tirelessly working, she continued chewing the thick ropes, bit by bit, until Leo was finally free.
You laughed when I said I would repay you. Now you see that even a mouse can help a lion.
Leo was astonished and profoundly grateful to the little mouse who had once been at his mercy. He realized that kindness and help could come from the most unexpected places and the smallest of creatures. From that day forward, Leo and Mia formed an unlikely friendship, and the lion learned that might wasn't the only source of strength. It was obvious for both of them now that no act of kindness, no matter how small, is ever wasted. They understood the value of compassion and friendship, regardless of someone's size or appearance. Good deeds are always rewarded.